Coaches, welcome back. Football Talk with Coach Chip. Today we're going to get into some nitty gritty. Gap down backer. Why should you use it? Hey, don't forget, share, subscribe, like the video, and click on that bell so every time I post something up, it comes through and alerts you. Let's get started. All right, what is gap down backer? Real simple, gap down backer, or as I like to call it, GDB, is a blocking rule used by football teams all the way from the littlest players to the biggest boys, the ones just got through playing last Sunday in the Super Bowl. That was 2023 for you people in the future. Gap down backers used at every level. Why? Because it's so effective. Okay? High school, college, middle school, everything in between, the NFL and Pee Wee League runs gap down backer. The first word of the rule is gap. That means the OL should look in their inside gap. Look here at the diagram. Okay? And I got a better diagram coming. And if there's a defender in there, they block him down. Okay, and down means toward the football. Let's say the football is right chump. Okay? All right. The next word in gap down backer is down, which means if no one is in the gap, like here the red guy, no one's in his gap, right? His inside gap. No one is down. Down means head up the next guy or on the next guy. Okay? Then he'll block on down. All right, and this green guy here, he's got somebody down. Look, nobody's in his gap, but if he looks over the center here, there's somebody there, block down. Okay? They're going to block down no matter what. Whether they're blocking a guy in the gap, a guy on the next offensive lineman, or a linebacker, depends on what the defense is in. All right, finally, the third word is backer. If there's no one in the gap and no one down means on the next guy, then you go to a linebacker. Usually we're talking 45-degree angles. Now I know coaches that say it's 45 degrees, and I'll freely admit when I teach it, the starting point is 45 degrees unless we're doing severe angle blocking, SAB, which I'll link that video up down below. I had a coach hit me up over the weekend wanting to know more about severe angle blocking. And that got me thinking about this too. And I start with 45. Severe angle is like 30. But I teach the kids once they learn the concept, it depends. If we're playing against a team that's going to play us not so aggressive because they know we're gap down blocking, then we may go up on the angle. If we're playing a really aggressive team that pins their ears back and tries to shoot gaps, then we may go down on the angle. What I mean by that is go down to 30 degrees or go up to, 55, 60 degrees or whatever. Depends on the defense. All right. In gap down backer, the blockers are only concerned with defenders that are inside of them. The goal of gap down backer, now get this, is to get horizontal movement along the line of scrimmage. We're not trying to get vertical push. We're trying to get horizontal push. All right. So what do we mean by gap? The spaces between the O linemen are gaps. And I know some of you are going, I know what this is, Coach. I know you know. But remember now, I try to appeal to all levels of coaching, and we got some that are just now deciding they're going to coach their nephew's team down at the rec, or they're going to coach their son's team. And these guys, they're not full-time coaches. They're full-time insurance agents and full-time doctors and lawyers and whatever other, full-time factory workers, warehouse workers. And so that's why sometimes on some of these videos, I seem to be elementary to some of y'all who've been in the business a little bit longer. Okay, the first gap, on both sides is the A gap. That's the center guard gap. Of course, the next one is the B, next one is the C, and then you repeat over here A, and there's B, and then we had them over here C. This is just an intercut to give you an idea. So in gap down backer, the blue guy, which in this case would be the tight end, is responsible for C gap. That's the gap he looks in first. And then the red guy, the tackle, is responsible for the B gap. Green guy, the guard, get that green G, guard G, responsible for the A gap. Okay? If his rule, the center on gap down backer is is gap back backer because they don't block down. They can't block toward the ball because the ball's in between their legs. They're going to block back, which means away from the call. If it's play to the right, they block to the left. Play to the left, they'll block to the right. That's what blocking back means. Okay? In gap down backer, the blockers are only concerned with defenders inside or in the gap they are responsible for. In this case, the blue guy has a man in his gap, see? So he's going to block him. Does that make sense? All right. Now, in this one, and it's the same slide, I just changed the guy. The green, when in this case it's the guard, has no one in his gap. No one's in the A gap, but there's a man down from him. Down means he's not in the gap, but he's not beyond the next O lineman, your teammate, inside of you, which in this case, this would be the guard, and this is the center. Okay. Now, if this nose was shaded this way in a one tech to the left, then blocking back, the center would get him. I'll show you a slide about that too. But see, this guy, there's nobody in the gap. So if this guy, the nose is shaded toward the guard or head up the center, as he is in this case, that's down. Okay, and I'll talk to you more about that. It's a progression rule. This is a blocking rule. Gap down backer. Okay. All right, let's look at one more like this. Same slide, but now we're looking at the tackle, the red guy. The red O lineman has no one in his gap, and there's nobody head up the guard. Nobody's shading him, nobody's head up him. So now he goes to the third phase of the rule, backer. Blocking down, going to backer. Okay? Usually it's going to be a middle or a backside backer. That can change if a frontside backer is blitzing or firing really hard. All right, the gap down backer rule is a progression. And those of y'all that are longtime subscribers and viewers of Football Talk with Coach Chip know what I mean. The first word of the rule is gap. That means the OL should look in their inside gap. If something there, boom. They don't even worry about down or backer. Those two words don't exist. For instance, the blue man here, which would be the tight end. He said, my rule's gap down backer. Oh, look, somebody's in my gap. Boom, done. I'm blocking the guy in my gap. Okay? I'm blocking the guy in my gap. The guard, the red guy, the tackle, he looks in his gap. Nobody in my gap. He goes on in the rule. What's the next word in the rule? Down. Is anybody down? No. So he goes to backer. The green guy, the guard, his rule's gap down backer. Looks in his gap. Nothing's there. Okay, next word in my rule is down. Oh, somebody's down. That's where I go. I never get to the backer part of it. The rule stops when you get to the word in the rule that applies to you on that given play, on that given snap of the football. Because next time we run it, gap down backer, this end, the guy that the tight end's been blocking, may be out here in a 9-tick outside shoulder. He doesn't block him. His rule still applies. Gap, down, backer. And there it is, what I just said. And I'll pause it right there. So later, if you want to screenshot that, you can. Okay, do a screen grab. Okay. And there it is. It keeps popping up because I want you to get it. You know, I'm all about rote repetition. I'm an old O-line guy. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you what I'm going to teach you. Then I'm going to tell you what I just taught you. All right. All right. An important coaching point for gap down backer, GDB, is let nothing cross your face. And another is do not chase linebackers. I even say don't chase anything. But look what I'm talking about right here. Look at the bottom one first. The red guy, his rule's gap down backer. Nobody in his gap, nobody down. So he goes down. He thinks he's going to this backer. You got to coach him up and tell him, don't avoid this cat. Because if you don't practice that, you're going to see them in a game. They'll avoid this guy because they have been trained and conditioned to go back. So you got to practice in your drill work in your indie time, firing play side backers trying to cross his face. And if that guy tries to cross his face, come get him. And you got to have a little discretion on this. Like, understand if that guy's coming, but your tackle is really quick and going to beat him right there, you may want to say, hey, slow down, let him get in front of you, and then T-bone his butt. Okay? And that's just up to you, and it depends on the level of what your kids have gotten gap down back or down pat and how good they are at down blocking. All right, now look at this scenario. Same rule, gap down backer right here. He looks in his gap, nothing. He looks down, nothing. Oh, I got backer. And this backer right here does this. Don't chase him. You keep on your track. I use the analogy of a railroad track. You're on this track right here. Now, you may slow down on your track to pick this joker up right here, but you can't come off your track and chase him. Here's the other thing. Okay, if this guy blitzes right here, you don't chase him down in there. You'll come out the other end, pretend it's a train going through a tunnel. You're going through the tunnel. You may come out the other side of the tunnel. That if you come out right here with nothing and there's nothing coming, turn up and go get a safety. That's what I teach. I've been teaching it for years. Okay? But do not chase. I use the example now. I taught it a bunch and coached at a bunch of country schools where they didn't know city buses from Adam's house cat. But now that I'm a little bit closer to Atlanta, they know about MARTA. And I'll tell them, I said, listen here, guys. I said, linebackers are like MARTA buses in Atlanta. If you miss one, just hang in there. There'll be another one coming by in a second. Okay? All right, let nothing cross your face also applies to blocks on defensive linemen. Look here. Okay, this guy's in the gap. So I look at my rule. The tight end looks at his rule. My rule's gap down backer. Oh, look, there's a guy in my gap. Let's say he's quick as a cat. As soon as the ball snapped, he flies outside. Do not bend and go get him. Stay on your track. We've got somebody coming. Because anytime you're using gap down backer, you've got pullers. Okay? Sometimes in short yardage and goal line, people load up with a couple of H-type kids in the backfield and use them as the pullers. But still, you've got people coming and kicking and wrapping. This guy flies out right here. Don't come out like this and get him. I've had so much trouble with that from tight ends and H's, wingbacks. They say, oh, there he goes. And he goes out here. No, stay on your track. Let him go. All right, if he's real aggressive, he's head up, he is down. He's not in your gap, but he is down. And he has beat you inside. He's fast enough to beat you inside, tight end. But he's not so fast he can beat the tackle across right there. So he's coming right off the tackle's butt on the tackle's down block. Okay? And he's beating you. Adjust your angle. This is where you'll go from 45 to a 30. Go severe angle on his butt. Okay? Oh, I tell my lineman. I say, okay, first time we do it, if he beats you across your face, that's a freebie. I won't count it against you. Every time he beats you after that, that's on you, Hoss. You've got to adjust. Okay, gap down backer is a blocking rule used by football teams from youth level to NFL. We talked about it. The OL is not trying to knock the DL off the line of scrimmage. It's not a vertical push blocking scheme. It is a horizontal movement blocking scheme. The OL wants to displace the DL from the gaps they're supposed to fit in. So if the nose is supposed to shoot the gap right here, we want to push him here. Okay, if the DN is supposed to insert right here in the C gap, the tight end wants to push him down to the B gap. Gap down backer is great for undersized O linemen. We'll talk about that at the end with the advantages of gap down backer. A 185-pound OL can move a 250-pound DL coming at him from the side, hitting him in the side, because what he's doing is using that guy's aggression against him. And I tell the kids this, it's like judo, using somebody else's momentum. And he may get some penetration right here, but stay on him and push him this way, because if we're gap down backer over here, that's where the ball's coming. So we don't let him get all the way back in the backfield, and he gets a little penetration here, but we stay fighting him and get him pushed over here past the ball, past the midline of the formation. That's a win. And I've seen sub 200-pound linemen displace 250-pound and better D linemen because they use good technique, they play low, and they're getting them there in the side and pushing them sideways. They're using their momentum against them. Okay, it's basic geometry, I guess. I don't know geometry, but I know this, it works. The angles of down blocks give the O-line leverage. Okay, it's like prizing something up. You may not be able to move it, but if you can wedge something in the angle there and then use a fulcrum to push down on it and leverage it up, it's the same thing with this. You're using their momentum and you're out leveraging them because you're coming from the side. Now you put that 185-pound guy against that guy on the boards and see who wins. Okay? I'll put my money on the big boy most of the time. He may not win, but he ain't giving no ground. If he can't play a lick, he ain't going to give ground. Okay? So leverage is a great advantage in this. Pause for a second for screenshots. There you go. Okay? Gap down backer blocking creates a wall. This wall I call the rump line. Again, some of you longtime listeners on other videos talking about the power and the counter know what I'm talking about. It's a line of rumps. Okay, and we're not talking about pullers now. We're just talking about down blocks. But we want a line of rumps right there for the puller, the wrapper, and the running back to run down behind. This wall is very important. It is created when there are multiple down blocks on a play. Okay, either 2, 3, or even 4. Okay, if you got a wing back over there, you go unbalanced and you just down blocking everything, and you're just trying to create a big wash, like a wave. And you tell that guy, and it's kind of what I teach wide receivers on the wide receiver screens. I said, you want to find the wave and ride the wave. Now, the wave is inverted on the wide receiver screen because the blocks are coming from the inside to the outside. But on this one, they're coming from out to in, creating this wall right here. Okay, the kind of wall you'd see in a big wave out in Hawaii or something. Okay, and that's what you create when you have multiple down blocks. To defeat a down block, the DL must fight over or under it. I mean, most of the time when the defender fights under a down block, what I mean, coming under it right here, the ball's gone. You know, I read an article where it said 90% of the time. I don't know the analytics of it. I freely admit I have not done a study. But I do know that in years of doing gap down backer blocking, this is way past 50% of the time. I don't know if as much as 90, but he better be a hell of a football player if he's going to come under the down block. He's almost got to dip and rip and get skinny immediately, like he knows it's coming, like he's slanting that way. But if he's not, if he's playing it straight up and you pop him right here and he tries to fight under it, and I've got a saying, most young D linemen, junior high, high school age, I've even seen college guys do it, they're like water. They're going to take the path of least resistance. And if they see a way out of that bind right there by coming here, say, oh man, this guy's got me pinned. And he comes around, ball's gone. Okay? They'll take themselves out of the play. All right, now fighting over the top, and I've got a picture I'll show you right here. Okay, that means they're playing soft. They're losing their aggression. We used to play a team. I was in a league that we played this team every year for 11 years. I think there was 2 or 3 years they weren't in our league, but we played them because they were so close to us. Played them 11 straight years. And they knew we were going to, we gap down backer every year. And they knew it. And so they wouldn't come off the ball. They would, like old school, like trying to read blocks like they used to do in the old days of the old Okie fronts back in the 60s and 70s. And these cats would do this. Well, all week I would tell the kids, don't go in front of them. Go right at them. That way, if they go over the top, you can still slide and get them. If they try to penetrate, you can still slide and get them. Now, that's not going to work against everybody. Film study is an important part of coaching. But they would play really soft. Now, they didn't hit soft, but they wouldn't be aggressive right here, so they could come like this. And I call that coming over the top. Now, when that happens and you've got multiple down blocks, if he does beat the guard by going over the top, the tackle should get him because they need to catch up to each other. All right, linebackers are often left playing flat because if they penetrate and come here, they're going to get caught up in the wash of that wave, of that rump line, of that wall. And so they start playing flat. Now they're coming over the top. And even if we don't block them, we're talking 4 or 5 yards. Okay. Here's a picture of what I'm talking about. Aggressive linebackers step up, they risk getting caught in the wash. Here's the picture. This guy's coming under. They're going to lose vast majority of the time. Now he's going over. That means he's not being as aggressive. We should be able to get some push on him, some sideways, horizontal movement. Here's a linebacker playing flat. That's what you want. You want them playing flat. You don't want them being aggressive. So even if we don't block them, we're still making plays, gaining yards. And here's one being aggressive. And if he's too aggressive, he gets caught up in the wash. Another plus that I didn't list when we talk about the advantages of gap down backer, a lot of D coordinators, they won't blitz it. Okay, because they're just sacrificing their linebackers who are usually their best tacklers. All right, why use it? Smaller O linemen. Okay, am I relating to you? Am I preaching yet? Smaller O linemen can excel and be successful at gap down backer if they got a little bit of dog in them. Okay, I remember one year, years ago, we played against this team that had about 165-pound tight end. Tight end now. Okay. That joker would block down. He'd get in your business, son. He'd get all down there in your knees. And boy, I'm telling you what, it went but buttholes and elbows down there. And he was a good one. Never played football again after he graduated. I can assure you that. Okay? He's a little old bitty 165-pound kid. You know, he wasn't big, but he was slow. But he had a dog in him. Big OL can also excel. Years ago, I had an O-line that averaged 250. We still did gap down backer. Somebody said, Coach, why don't you use zone scheme when you got this big O-line? I said, because look at the backups. I said, that's the ones that are coming the year after and the year after. I said, they ain't going to be able to do it. They ain't going to be able to base somebody up and knock them off the ball vertically. Okay? But big boys can do gap down backer. Little fellas have a hard time doing drive blocking. Big boys don't. Okay? Little fellas can excel at gap down backer. Big boys can too. The angles, did I mention the angles? Lord have mercy, the angles. God gives you angles, use them. Go back to that leverage thing in the fulcrum. There you go. Gap down backer operates from the strength of using leverage. They're going to decide where they're going to line up. Okay? And you don't care because you're blocking down. I believe it allows for more aggression because the O-line knows where they're going and they got a pretty good idea unless they end up on the backer and the backer fires and they wind up on another backer. They know who they're going to get most of the time. Because high school defensive linemen don't do a lot of movement. I know some do, okay? But if he comes here and you can't get him, just keep going. Somebody else will get him. This guy here is blocking that way too most of the time, all right? So those are all advantages and reasons to use gap down backer. All right, it works against any front, even what people call the bear front, which I don't call that the bear front. A 3 is 0 and a 3 is not a bear front. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, and it was used long before Buddy Ryan and the 1985 Chicago Bears. There's more to the bear front than just those 3 linemen. All right, but if you want to call it that, it's fine. The bear front, a 3, a 0, and a 3. I got a good friend that's a D coordinator, and he swears that's the way he'll stop a wing T. I said, brother, you ain't going to stop a wing T doing that. You may take away one play. But you're talking about gap down backer, dude. I don't care how many D linemen you put up there, we're going to gap down backer your butt. And the more D linemen, it's really harder to block a 3-3 stack or a 3-5 because you ain't got but 3 linemen now. All right, now you got offensive linemen trying to block backers in space. But putting more guys on the line of scrimmage does not slow down gap down backer, not even close. Down blocks make linebacker fits difficult because that A gap disappears, that B gap disappears, that C gap disappears when those linemen start blocking down. Where do I fit? And if they're doing it right and they're fitting it and the O line is coming off like they're supposed to, there is no gap. And that's when you wind up with linebackers playing flat and over the top of the down block. Pause for screenshots. Okay. All right. I want to show you before we go. I want to show you some video. All right. For those of y'all that doubted me, check it out. The San Francisco 49ers running gap down backer. Watch down here at the bottom of the screen, their left side. Look at the wall. Okay, look here. Tackle, blocking down. Look at his step coming right here. This guy kind of slants inside some, so instead of getting him, he's going to go to right here. Look at the tackle, blocking down right there. Guard, blocking down on the nose. Center, blocking back. There, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 down blocks. Watch the rump line that's created. No, there's the rump line. Okay. Here comes your kicker. And your wrapper is going to hug those rump lines and wrap to right here. By the way, the tight end's coming here. This guy's going to play over the top of the wall. He has to come out of the wall to get him. I'll show you that. I got an end zone shot too. Boom. Look at there. All right, look at the end zone shot. It's quick. All right, look. Here comes your down block. 1, 2, 3. Center back and back makes 4. Okay. Guard pulled. Look at the tackle come all the way down. Look at the gap hinge. He's shutting that off right there. This is good stuff, cuz. Look at that wall. Look at that wall. That's the rump line, dude. Now, to my way of thinking, the running back is way too wide. He should be hugging the rump line close enough to him where he could touch them, but far enough away he doesn't trip over their heels. But he's in the NFL, and I ain't. Okay. All right, guys. I know it went a little long. We're 28 minutes so far. I'm sorry, but that's why God gave you a pause button. Great thing about YouTube, it picks up right where it left off. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Tell you what, send me proof, screenshot that you shared the channel, and I will send you a copy of this presentation as a big thank you. I sure appreciate it. Contact me at siegel.chip@gmail.com or hit me up on Twitter at Chip Siegel. I got a Facebook page, Football Talk with Coach Chip. There's always people posting cool stuff there. And I'll respond to all questions and comments. Ask anybody because I want to help you and your team succeed. Hey, y'all, be elite.